Shoot!
Guns. They are symbols of power, weapons of war, centers of controversy. And over the past year, sales have been through the roof. Have you seen an increase in demand?
1,000% increase.
Since the beginning of March last year, the FBI has conducted over 46 million firearm background checks. The National Shooting Sports Foundation found that 40% of those sales were for first-time buyers.
The single stack was just one line.
Pop open like that, you know I'm very, very, very bougie and anal.
And that purchases by Black Americans increased more than any other race, up 56%. I'm a licensed gun owner here in California, and I've been going to the ranges for over a decade. Until recently, everyone there, well, they looked like me. But that's changing.
I think that just being Black and being in this country, me and a lot of my friends were just like, we need to make that purchase. So a lot of us purchased last year during the pandemic, and now that things are kind of lifting, we're getting out and getting lessons and learning.
Aaron Wood and 20 other students came out here to the mountains north of Los Angeles for a beginner handgun course. It's being offered through Redstone Firearms.
You get one warning out here and then we kick you off the range. Got it?
And class is officially in session. It's not Aaron's first time out on the range, but some students, like Rihanna Arredondo, have never pulled the trigger. Until recently, Rihanna was absolutely not a gun person.
It was never something that I was interested in. I referred to myself as a tree-hugging hippie. Now I cannot count on law enforcement to look out for us.
Ahmaud Arbery, who's African-American, is seen running
recklessly into the apartment complex after George Floyd died.
Next. Turning toward police and
watching report after report of police killings of Black people and her experience living in a predominantly pro-Trump neighborhood, her views have changed.
We don't feel safe. Clearly, I know that I am more at risk if I hear something outside and call the police than I am if I take care of it myself.
Rihanna bought a gun last week and is currently in the middle of California's mandatory 10-day waiting period before she picks it up. In the meantime, she is taking her first shot.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
But for Black people wanting to buy a gun, the path to purchase can be rough.
I went to a gun shop in the town where I live and was treated so poorly. They did everything they could to make sure that I would leave. I called it my racist, sexist gun experience.
These are some of the most popular firearms.
While there are no exact numbers on how many gun stores there are in the nation, there are at least 6,000, according to the NSSF. Fewer than a dozen of those are Black-owned. Redstone is one, owned by Jonathan and Geneva Solomon.
Why is it that this is such an abnormal thing to have a gun store owned by a Black person?
I wish I could tell you. I don't have a response for you. I know that right now we're one of 9 in the U.S. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you.
The couple started Redstone Firearms in 2015. To their knowledge, it is the only Black-owned gun store in all of California. And while operating a gun store in California is inherently difficult because of strict state regulations, the Solomons had extra challenges to overcome, like securing a lease.
Have you had to hide behind white faces while doing business?
Only to get a place to rent. We haven't had to do that for anything else. But as far as renting a space, yeah, we've hit a lot of roadblocks.
Geneva is an unlikely gun store owner and emerging leader in the Black gun world.
My dad was shot when I was 2 years old, and so we didn't talk about guns in the house at all.
After ending a relationship that scared her, Geneva decided that she needed to be able to protect herself and her daughter.
So what was it like buying your first gun?
It was horrible. It was a terrifying, horrible experience, not just because I was buying the gun. It was because of how I was treated.
Geneva is also on the executive advisory board of the National African American Gun Association.
It's an organization creating a safe space for you to be able to learn about the history of firearms in the African American community, knowing that, you know, we're a brotherhood and a sisterhood, we're a family.
In a way, it's the black community's answer to the National Rifle Association.
My ancestors didn't have the right to carry a gun when the Second Amendment was written. Understanding the history and understanding when laws are being created and how that can affect your community more so than others, I think is really important.
Throughout the history of the United States, gun laws have been used time and time again to keep guns out of the hands of black people. For instance, when armed Black Panthers demonstrated at the California Capitol in 1967, then Governor Reagan passed the Mulford Act as a way to criminalize the Panthers' neighborhood patrols. But left out of history has been the role of guns in the liberation of black people. During Reconstruction after the Civil War, the Arkansas governor established a black militia to drive out and cut down the KKK. And even in the nonviolent civil rights protests, guns were present. Martin Luther King Jr. himself applied for a concealed carry permit shortly after his house was bombed. That application was denied.
You guys are moving way too slow. Your doors are covered. You close the door, you expose your body. Do it again.
For Jonathan in Geneva, education is just as important as selling the guns. They want to see black gun owners move past proficiency and become experts.
Is it a good thing that there's more black people owning guns?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.